We're from Texas. Reporters. Awesome, thank you. So I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself, just in case you don't know who I am. My name is Sandra Whitman. I ran for Congress in District 28. Those run all the way up here to Bexar County in 2020. We raised $25,000. I know, you can gasp, it's okay, we did. But what we did with that $25,000 is we almost doubled the Republican turnout for my race specifically. That's something that we were told would never happen in District 28 because it is a D+9 district. So we went from 57,000 voters to 92,000 voters in one turnaround. Laredo specifically, which is my hometown, is the only city in this, the number one city in the United States that came the closest to Donald Trump without flipping to Donald Trump. That's impressive. Zapata County, which is one of our counties in District 28, did flip for President Trump with no Republican Party presence. That is remarkable. I'm honored to tell you that they do now have a Republican Party, and we had our very first meeting last Saturday. So they are excited, they are energized, they are amazing, amazing people in Zapata County and South Texas in general, even up here in Bexar County. So thank you for your support in 2020, but our work is not done. What we did learn through the process of 2020 is that we have a real problem. It's called the establishment. Y'all ever heard of them? Have you ever heard of the grassroots? Maybe you guys might be part of the grassroots. The cool thing that we learned between the establishment and the grassroots is that the establishment is the establishment whether they've got an R next to their name or a D next to their name. Have you ever heard of a guy named John Cornyn? Let me tell you why John Cornyn and I have this wonderful love-hate relationship. I love to hate him. He called my campaign headquarters the week, well, he had somebody call our campaign headquarters the week before Election Day and said, hey, we need all of your contacts. I said, none of your life. And he goes, no, you don't understand, this is for John Cornyn, the Republican senator. I said, well, when John Cornyn reminds himself that he's actually a Republican, he can call then. But until then, he can kiss my butt. Didn't say that night. A week later, he shows up in Laredo the day before Election Day and stands in front of a crowd and says, I need you guys to get out and vote. I need you to vote for me. And I need you to vote for Henry Cuellar. What? What did y'all just hear me say? That's right. That's what your Republican senator did the day before Election Day. Let's talk about the establishment. Just recently, the NRCC and the National Republican Congressional Committee came out and said, hey, we're going to come out against some Democrats, some hard Ds. Henry Cuellar is on the top of the list. I think he was number 3. A week later, John Cornyn fires back and says, absolutely not. You back off my good friend Henry Cuellar. We need him in this fight. Guess what also happened within a couple of weeks later? Dan Crenshaw, Tony Gonzalez, and Chip Roy all did the exact same things. They started fostering bills with him together. They're keeping me out of the money so that we can keep fighting this fight together as the establishment because they believe in a one world order. And I know what they're going to say. No, she's got it all wrong. She can't raise money, so she's trying to cause problems. But now let's look about where the money goes, right? Because that's what we like to talk about. We like to follow the money, as they say. Well, I don't know if you guys know, but there's a big problem on our southern border. Has anybody heard about that? Now, Congressman Cuellar has been there for about, 40 years almost in politics. And in that 40 years, he's never seen anything like this before. Bless his heart, he had no idea that there was a problem on our southern border. He thought everything was under control. He's been all over Fox News telling everybody, look, hey, I showed you guys some pictures in Carrizo Springs and in Donna. I linked those pictures to you. Thank you, Henry Cuellar, for finally doing your job. But here's where it gets better. Now they started writing bills. Don't you love it when they start writing bills? They're hoping you're not paying attention. They want to do a bill with 4 new detention centers. Guess who's paying for those? We are. Guess who's getting kickbacks from them? They are. Because when the establishment gets together, they really get together. So the private prison systems are actually funding these campaigns. So now they have to stick together. When one falls, they all fall, right? How does that work out for we the people? It does not. But take heart, because our beloved President Biden, who was duly elected, I assure you, he has recently stated that we the people was actually in reference to we the government. Our founding fathers, they just messed it up when they wrote it. Apparently he's never read anything else that our founding fathers have written. Because our founding fathers knew that if we gave up our power, that we the people would be the ones that suffer. Which is exactly why we the people are we're kind of upset right now. Yes. We're kind of outraged right now. And if you're not, I need you to pick up the newspaper and quit watching Fox News. I need you to step outside of your comfort zone for a second and look and see what's going on. Because in District 28, which is not where Henry Cuellar is talking about, we have hardened criminals coming through illegally. I've spoken to sheriffs and judges from across the state, not just on the border, not just in my district, who said, we've met with these congressmen who keep showboating down here. And they look at us and they say, yeah, we know. But we've got this under control. We don't need to hear from you. And they said, no, you don't understand. We have hardened criminals. We have our ranches are being destroyed. We have vehicles that are being taken and used and just gutted. We have stash houses like we've never seen before. Counties that only have 13 deputies are having numbers like they can't imagine. They're showing up at these meetings with stacks of complaints like this, and they can't even get to them. And they said, Sandra, this was just within this week. Our little tiny counties can't keep up with this. But our federal government is allowing this to continue. But thankfully, the establishment has this under control. Let me tell you what they're doing. Our Vice President, Kamala Harris, God love her. Oh my goodness for her. You know what? She said that the federal government has this under control. So she's not even going to bother coming down to the border. She's going to go straight to the source. She's going straight to Mexico and straight to El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, where she's just going to send about $300 billion. I'm sorry, million. The billion. It doesn't matter anymore. We just add zeros. Because you remember whose line is it anyway? The games are made up, the points don't matter anyway. That's exactly what your establishment government is doing with our money. They said that there's a real problem, that it's not the violence per se, it's climate issues, and it's food. That's where the real problem is. And of that 300 and something stupid $million number, only 55 million or billion is actually going to the food problem. The rest of it's just going to fix it. We're going to fix it. We just throw money at things and fix it. How does that work for everybody else? It doesn't work at my house either. Tried. Ask my teenagers. We can't just keep throwing money at the problem. We've actually got to address it. We've got to get viciously addressing these issues. Do you know what the #1 problem is in these South America countries? Cartel. Now here's where the real stink is. We can write all the immigration laws on this side of the border. We can throw up all the detention facilities that we want, and we can say, hey, y'all quit coming over here. Stay home, we'll tell you when you can come. Because that's what the establishment wants us to do, right? We want to pretend like we're going to write something with some teeth, but not actually put any meat for us to sink our teeth into. We want to keep tying the hands of the Border Patrol agents and the ICE agents and the DEA agents. Because let me make this clear, this is not a border problem. This is an America problem. and tour a stash house, a 2-bedroom stash house that had 97 people stuck inside of it. Guess where it was not? It's not on the border. It's in Houston. They took all of their clothes away from them and made them only stand in their underwear so that they would not escape. They put it on a cul-de-sac in a nice, quiet little neighborhood. You want to know how you get involved in what's going on my border problem? Pay attention to what's going on outside of your front door. Because this is happening in every single town across America right now. Every single town. These are not just asylum seekers. And let me tell you what, when I was on the border a couple weeks ago down in the McAllen area, I was checking out of my hotel and I was going to get my receipts. And I looked over and there was a minivan. I was standing in line because you can't go inside with COVID. And I'm standing in line for my turn and I look over and the driver of the taxi is going back and forth. And finally she steps back and she goes, no, you go ahead, ma'am. I said, okay. So I stepped up and I'm getting my receipt and I turn around and I look. There's a little girl. Now, anybody who knows, if you followed any of my stuff, or if you've talked to me for more than 5 minutes, I have this beautiful 2-year-old little girl. I have 4 beautiful, amazing children. But I have this 2-year-old little girl. She's got big, huge brown eyes, brown curly hair, and just gorgeous, stunning. And I look over and there's this little girl about my little girl's age. And she's wearing brand new clothes. Brand new sneakers that never even had one little speck of dirt on them. Her mom's about half my age. And she's in brand new clothes, never had a speck of dirt on them. And they each have one book bag. And she's got one of those manila folders that you've been seeing all about in the news. Because the hotels are at capacity, they're kicking out people so that the federal government can spend several $1 million a month to house people who are here illegally. Because we don't want to talk about the real issues. You know why those little girls and that little mom is here? Because they got bought and sold. They have bracelets. There's a real crime-ridden problem that the establishment is covering up, and we the people have allowed them to do this. Because our silence has been our compliance. So when do we say enough is enough? Do we continue to say, well, they raised, look at Dan Crenshaw, he's raised $20 million. He must be doing the right thing. But then when he starts bringing up red flag laws, and when he starts talking about global dollars, those are things that we don't want to address because it makes us feel uncomfortable, right? Here's my charge to you. Do you know why I have not stopped campaigning since 2019? Because my children's future depends on me winning in 2022 now. Your children's future depends on me winning in 2022. Because until we can break up this establishment problem, America loses every single day. We, the people, become we, the government. We're enslaving ourselves to the government right now. Several years ago, a movie came out called The Hunger Games. If you didn't see it, there was a book series on it also. It's kind of for the tween age kind of kids, between 12 and 20-ish. But I have siblings that are a couple decades younger than I am, so I read them so that we had something to talk about. Then a few years later, a decade later, I decided to run for Congress. And the parallels between that book and what's happening right now will nauseate you. Look at President Biden and President Snowden. If you've read the books or you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, I encourage you to. They're a light read, it's really kind of quick. And it'll give you an opportunity to engage with somebody who's half your age. Because they have no idea what's going on in the big picture, but you say Katniss Everdeen, you hold up your little fingers like this, they're going to know real quick what you're talking about. That's when you get the people from my generation and younger involved. I can't tell you the number of people in my generation who have no idea what's going on. The number of people who said, I voted. I think I voted for you. I had somebody tell me they voted for me a couple weeks ago during early voting for for city council races up here in San Antonio. And I said, please report that. They said, what? No, we love you. Of course we're voting for you. And I said, well, I'm not running for a city anything, except for maybe like a hamburger stand. But we've got to get serious about voting. Because the establishment knows that we're just going to be complacent and be like, well, they're just going to grumble for a couple of days and then they're going to be fine because we're going to put up some other news story or the Oscars are going to be on. We quit engaging America. That's why we're losing. So how do we fix it? We start holding our elected officials to the fire. How many of you were super happy on January 6th? Y'all remember January 6th? How many of y'all were just elated when all of our representatives got to DC and then they did exactly what they told us they weren't going to do? I know that really made you happy. How many of you guys got banned from the internet or Facebook or Twitter or whatever because you were vocalizing your feelings on January 6th? How many of you got a visit from the FBI? Y'all remember Walter West, who was here last month? He got a visit from the FBI. He was quarantined at home with COVID, but he was a national terrorist now because he voiced his opinions on January 6th from a picture that was taken from the television with a quote from the Constitution. Speaking of the Constitution, Joe Biden told you that he's not going to take your guns because he's not. He's too busy trying to take your Constitution. Have you heard him say it over and over and over again? He says it. He says it point blank. He looks straight in the camera and he says, your amendments, they're not absolute. There's nothing in the Constitution that's absolute. What? When did we decide from the 1770s to right now that we're just, he's right. I mean, really just some whiteout, we can fix that. Earlier, Loretta asked the veterans to stand. Earlier, she asked our law enforcement to stand. I guarantee you that they have not forgotten what that Constitution means. I guarantee you that when they raised their right hand, and when their mamas and their wives and their spouses and their children and their siblings saw them take that oath, that meant something to them other than a paycheck. Because as a military wife, as a law enforcement wife, as a veteran's daughter, a veteran's granddaughter, and a veteran's sister, I guarantee you that that oath means something. And let me tell you what, I stood and I've held a wife and a mom and a daughter and a sister and a son who will not see their family member come home because they swore an allegiance to that oath. That we're going to allow our president to take a mark or two so that they can continue to play their games like Congressman Cuellar is. And saying, he's not trying to take your guns. See, I still have my NRA rating. Remember, I got the NRA rating. He's not taking your guns because he's going to take your Constitution. It's time for we the people to stand up and show the government exactly who we the people is, because it is not the government. And as a government employee wife, I remind him all the time that he is not we the people when he is in uniform. He does still work for the government. Because let me tell you what, they're using them just as fast as you think that they can. They are trying to go after our men and women in uniform. And they're trying to do it in such a way by creating these secret policies and by sliding the paper a little bit this way and signing it this way and overworking them and overtaxing them. Because let me tell you what, I need you praying for Border Patrol agents right now, and ICE agents, and DEA agents, and the sheriffs, and the police, in a way that we have never had to pray for them before. Have you ever gone to work and been told not to do your job? And you think, okay, I'm going to sit here on Facebook all day. And they said, actually, we're going to have you do a different job, but we're still going to need you to actually do your job. Because that's what they're doing to them right now. Morale is at an all-time low for anybody with a badge, on any level of it. So this is where we the people have to be vigilant. We've had a lot of wins in the Texas Ledge right now, but we still need a lot more. Texans, regardless of what AOC thinks, we got to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. We got to get busy. I need you involved in campaigns. I need you involved in campaigning, and do not ask, well, how much am I going to get paid? Because as a real grassroots campaign, I'll be like, well, maybe I can buy you lunch. Maybe. $1 Tuesdays. Not really. But I need you to give. I need you to share. I need you to talk. I need you to have conversations. Because the establishment is doing it. And they're doing it on a level that we can't even comprehend. Did you see this morning that the president of China is now going by a new dictatorial name? Yeah. I can't pronounce it, or I'd tell you it. Sorry. But this is what's really happening. This one world order that we've all sworn that we don't want to happen, it's literally playing out before our eyes. So I need you to be vigilant, because the establishment is literally trying to kill you. Thank you guys so much for your time. Please follow me at Sandra for Texas. Go to sandrafortexas.com, and if you can, there's an envelope on the table, and I really appreciate your support, because this battle is far from over. Thank you guys.